To at 6:02. Welcome, everyone.
Recording in progress.
Sorry, let me leave here. Sorry.
Do we have anyone? I assume, Delene, are you running the IT for the meeting?
I am, and we do not have any attendees.
Okay, so normally our first order of business is to see if there are any guests from the public. And since we don't have any, we'll move on to approving the advisory committee meeting minutes from our last meeting, which was March 22nd. Did anybody see anything they wanted to change or update or anything like that?
I saw just one small typo, item 4, very end of the second line. I think it should just say, he said the city of Norwalk. It just says he the.
Got it.
That's
Okay,
quite great.
Paul, did you see anything? Are you good?
Nope.
Okay, then I motion to accept the minutes with that one small change.
I'll second the motion.
Okay, great. Okay, well, just a few months ago, I applied for a DEEP grant. It was an urban forestry grant that was addressing equity and climate change. And I came across two websites when I was working on that grant. And one was an EPA site that discussed environmental justice by region. And the other one was a tree quality score. Is that right, Danielle?
Tree equity score, yeah.
Tree equity score, okay. And I was very interested in the fantastic information that you could get in multiple levels on this particular website. And it was very, very helpful in kind of framing the issues that are going on, particularly in South Norwalk as compared to North Norwalk. And you could see the precipitous drop in tree coverage going from north as you go to east and then into South Norwalk. And it was really evident in this particular site that Danielle has done some work on. So I got in touch with her. We spoke about the site a little bit while I was working on that grant. And I asked her if she would join us on our next meeting. And she graciously agreed to do so. So Danielle, I believe you're set up as a panelist, so you can share your screen if you wanted to pull up that website. It is such a fantastic resource, and anybody who is, it doesn't even matter if you're doing a grant or not, it can guide your planting programs. It's instrumental in so many ways.
Great. Can you guys see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, yeah. So yeah, like Erica mentioned, my name is Danielle Tanzer. I'm a master's student at UConn, and I work with Bob Fahey, who runs the Applied Forest Ecology Lab. And we're working with DEEP, specifically with Danica Dorosky, on some of these urban forest grant programs. And one of the products that we've looked at and we're considering doing some work with is this tree equity score product that's provided by American Forests, the nonprofit group. So the tree equity score product, I'll pull up the map for it. So kind of broadly at the US, but if we look at Connecticut, it's this product that they calculated so far for, these are the census defined urban areas in Connecticut. And they kind of describe this product as assessing whether there are enough trees in a given neighborhood for everyone there to experience the benefits of the trees. So really looking at, you know, how equitable the distribution of tree canopy cover is within a given city. So when we zoom in at a specific municipality or city level, this is what the data looks like, and you can see that it's provided. This is the census block group level, but we can kind of just call it neighborhoods. And so they calculate this, they call the tree equity score at this neighborhood level. And it's a score that considers what the current existing canopy cover is for that given neighborhood. They assess kind of this they basically apply a baseline goal. So it's based on the natural biome of the area. And also they consider how densely populated that area is. So they have this kind of broad estimate of, in this area, it'd be about a 40% goal. So they would want the neighborhood to have about a 40% canopy cover. So they compare this goal versus the existing canopy cover. And then they also consider some of these, what they call priority indicators, to assess some of the neighborhoods that might best benefit from tree planting efforts. And those priority indicators that they use are a group of demographic data. So that includes things like employment status, race, the age of the population, that sort of data. They also have a health index that they include. So that considers physical and mental health aspects of the population. And then they also include surface temperature data. So trying to look at like the urban heat island effect. So they consider some of these priority factors and then also the actual existing tree canopy cover. And they consider it at the neighborhood scale, but it's really calculated in comparison to, how does this one neighborhood look compared to the other neighborhoods within this given municipality or this given city. And so when we look at this kind of interactive website that they have, it's a really nice way to look at the data, and you can just click on a given neighborhood and provides this snapshot of what the tree equity score looks like for that given neighborhood, and some of the information about those priority indicators that I mentioned. But we can also look at, they have some interactive reports as well. So in this case, this is the Norwalk report, and they have this data that you can look at, but you can also download a report version of it. And you can look at some of the different comparisons between some of those priority indicators and the tree canopy cover. So they have some of these interactive graphs that you can look at. And then they also have a section that might be useful for grant proposals. So a little bit confusing, but what you can do is you set this threshold. So, in this case, this is the default of 75. So we're going to look at all the neighborhoods that have a tree equity score less than 75. And the lower the tree equity score is, the less equitable the canopy cover is. So areas that we might want to prioritize in terms of tree planting. So in this case, in Norwalk, it's saying that 18 of the 70 neighborhoods have a tree equity score below 75, might want to be prioritized. And it estimates how many trees you would need to plant to get all of those neighborhoods up to a tree equity score of 75. And if you were to plant that many trees, this is the ecosystem service benefits or other benefits that you might see from actually planting those trees. So an estimate of what you would get out of tree planting in those neighborhoods. So that's one of the really nice factors of tree equity scores. If you're just looking for like a snapshot of data to use for a proposal or a report, you have this really nice interactive map that you can use. And then they do also have a GIS-based shapefile data set that you can download too. So if you actually want to work with the data or produce your own maps, you can just kind of go, I think, up in the menu selection, there's an option just to download per state the data set. Might have to go back to the main page. So that's what the data looks like. And I'm happy to talk a little bit about how they produce it, if there's interest in that, or answer any questions.
Yeah, so Danielle, if you could do me a favor and click where you were on East Norwalk, just so we could see that we have a tree equity score of 46. The current canopy cover is 7%, which is pretty sad. A goal is 40%, so it's lofty compared to 7%, but 40% is still not what we would consider good. And then we can tie this into some of the environmental racism that we've been addressing by showing how these areas tend to have a certain income and a certain percentage of people of color. Now, if you go ahead and you click up by Cranberry on to the left or the right of that word, you could see that up in Cranberry, also in Norwalk, we have 100% equity score. And if you go down to the right, just one section of Cranberry and click on that, you can see the people of color has dropped to 8%, unemployment has dropped to 3%, the health index is different. And then if you go down to Rowayton, we'll see kind of a similar picture on these kind of flanking areas. People of color in Rowayton range from 1 to 5%. 100% tree equity score. And so you see this kind of belt in central Norwalk that goes to the east and then into the south, where we really need to concentrate our efforts. Does that make sense? And I really liked this because it is a lot of people I hear constantly quoting the West Cog study, which is an excellent study that was done, but it has become a little dated over time. And so this I was really excited about because it is interactive and you can manipulate it in different ways, and it just gives so much data. Did anyone have any questions for Danielle?
Just looking at that, as Chairperson Kip had just mentioned, the West Cog study, a lot of that is all based on pure percentages. How did they come up with the data from this? Are these all aerial flights? Where did it come from? Just curious.
So the tree canopy data is, I think it's a LiDAR based product, and it's very high resolution. It's like a 1 meter or sub 1 meter product. And I think it's from 2020. It's provided by Earth Define, and I think they have I assume it's aerial LiDAR surveying.
Okay. And as we mentioned before, with some of the percentages can be deceiving because there are in areas of Norwalk, areas that don't really offset as much as you get in areas like Stamford, where you've got a lot more canopy cover in the northern section. So this is interesting. And it shows that a lot of the areas are right along basically the Norwalk River.
Well, isn't that where the most development is, Paul? I mean, the waypoints, the head of harbors, the Avalons, like they're all in South Norwalk or close to South Norwalk.
Yes, all along the valley of the Norwalk River, basically.
And to Chris's point, South Norwalk has historically been more industrial. And so there's a lot more impervious surface in the South Norwalk area as compared to other parts of Norwalk, which is at some level a challenge for us to find locations. But at the same time, we can and we need to work with, like Chris said, the Avalons and all of these places, because there is some opportunity to plant there, but we need to literally hit the pavement and have those conversations.
I had a quick question, Danielle. Do you know if this takes into account like green areas, like not lawn, but just not paved areas and like meadows and things like that, or is it only specifically tree canopy?
I'm pretty sure it's specifically tree canopy. The data set they use is a canopy data set, and with the LiDAR, they're considering height. So that's how they partially distinguish some of the trees.
That makes sense.
Great. I really, really appreciate you taking the time to show this to everyone and explain it to us. It's a really fantastic tool, and we wish you all the best in your master's pursuit.
Thank you.
You're
Yeah, no
absolutely more than welcome to stay for the rest of the meeting. But we did put you on early on in case you did have commitments or other things you needed to do. We completely understand.
I would love to hear what you guys are working on.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you for that. Okay, so the next order of business is Michelle Matthews Woods. Is she with us today? Paul, you're on mute.
I just reached out and texted her a couple minutes ago, and I did not receive a response. So I know when we sent out the invitation, she had said she planned on it. So I'll follow up and just again and see if she responds and maybe we can get her
Okay,
on.
we'll be
later.
on for about another half hour. So if she joins in, we can accommodate her whenever she pops in. Michelle Matthews Woods is the new Director of Communications for the City of Norwalk, and she's taken over Josh's position. And in the past, as a tree advisory committee, we've worked very closely with Josh in that communications capacity. He's been he was very instrumental in helping us promote a lot of the things we did, and we're hoping to work with Michelle in a similar capacity. We're excited that she's come on board. She has a great background, and we were hoping to all, kind of get to meet her today. But like I said, if she jumps on, Delene, just let us know and we'll just accommodate her.
Okay, will do.
She's already worked with us quite a bit with some of the tree stuff too, just to let everybody know. She had worked related to some of the Earth Day stuff that we'll talk about a little later. And she's also been working closely with the Arbor Day cleanup event and also the Arbor Day celebration too. So she's been in close contact with us related to trees already.
Perfect. So Paul, with that, the Capital Tree Planting Program is next on the agenda. If you just wanted to take a moment or two to address that.
Yep, I just wanted to mention that we've already started planting trees, as we had mentioned. We had a little over $30,000 left. We've already ordered trees for Arbor Day, the trees that we're going to be planting related to that. The seedlings have started to come in already. Actually, a group was delivered today. We also planted 7 trees related to the East Avenue Park Street area. So we are in the process of going through all of the requests. We've probably got left now about 25,000 of that money after we pay for the ones that I just talked about. And we've got well over 65, 70 requests to go. So I was going to start going through the ones in order that we've received them. Mentioned Sonia's area from Madison Street, St. Paul's Terrace, and then the older requests, we'll start working on getting those planted as well.
So I think Paul brings up a really important point, and I just want to kind of drive it home a little bit. We have about 30,000 in our budget, and we have requests that would probably require about $70,000 worth of funds. So we are prioritizing as best we can. And we're not saying that we're not going to plant everybody who has made a request. It's just that some of those might have to get pushed onto our next budget, which would be, we do 2 plantings every fall and every spring. And so the ones that don't make the spring planting will have to push back to the fall planting. But I think that, the Common Council and the mayor and people realize that we are really getting out there and making an impact, and a lot more people are on board with having these trees on their private property. And the trend that we're seeing is definitely one that favors, an environmental attitude, if you will. And hopefully we'll be able to have, some budget increases that will allow us to accommodate all of these fantastic requests. I mean, nobody ever wants to say no to somebody who wants to put a couple of trees on their property and is willing to, take care of them. So kudos to all of us for, getting out there and just getting people interested in the program. And that kind of goes nicely into Earth Day, because one of the trees that were planted was planted on Saturday, April 23rd, just adjacent to the Norwalk Green. Paul, do you have any pictures of that? So this was an event that was citywide, and there were dozens of tables set up with people from Norwalk Land Trust and Norwalk River Water Association, Norwalk Community College, Environmental Science Club had a table there, and the City of Norwalk Tree Advisory Committee had a table there. So we were able to really connect with the public. We got even more people signing up to sponsor trees. And this location that Paul is showing is the location of where we planted a tree during that Earth Day celebration on Saturday.
We've got a couple more. We got Professor Kip at the table she had there.
The picture is still of the tree location.
Yeah,
I don't know if
and
you're advancing slides or anything. While Paul is doing that, I'll stall by talking, which I'm pretty good at. The event was super well attended. We had miniature humans there, people with their dogs, and older folks alike. Thankfully, the weather was on our side, so that always helps with a turnout. But you could see we set up our tables next to each other. The city of Norwalk with their Tree City USA banner, and the Norwalk Community College banner. And I had about 5 or 6 students show up throughout the day to help man the table. And it was really beautiful to see my college students working with 5, 6, 7, and 8-year-olds doing coloring pages and talking about the environment. And I looked at it and I said, these are the next 2 generations, and they're already working together. And it was really beautiful. So it was a fantastic event. Audrey spearheaded the majority of it. And you know, we're really thankful for her for putting that together, and hopefully it'll become an annual event. Okay, so planning for the Arbor Day cleanup, Rich, that's you.
just the
So
last picture of it.
Oh, sorry, I guess Paul just fixed his
I've been going through the group.
technology issue. Okay.
They're working from home tonight. So this one, this is the group picture for everybody that was doing the planting.
So I just want to point out, you know, we have Senator Duff is here, the mayor is here, Mayor Rilling is here, his wife is here, there's some common council members. So it was really, like I said, a very well-attended event.
Okay.
what was the tree they planted there?
This is a flowering dogwood.
Not a white one, is it?
I believe it might have been it was just flowering dogwood. I think it was a white.
I think they might have got it mixed up with mine because I ordered white and I got pink.
I was going to say, I think it was pink. Yeah. Okay.
That's neat. They should put one on the other side of the church to frame it.
Yeah.
We're working with them to try and get that. If they will agree to it, we'll do it.
Yeah, it would look great.
And there's a whole bunch of flowering dogwoods aligning the courtyard in the back there. I think
This
there's
is one
5.
thing we can just take a quick second and echo some of what we're doing with the Tree Alliance too. Jeff just mentioned with the regulations of the tree planting program, we try to do them in the right of way in the areas and along the streets for the urban street tree canopy for the capital budget program. But the Tree Alliance has done some planting in the back of the church area also already.
Excellent.
Did you have more pictures, Paul?
I've got a few more, but that's basically it. It was just the crowd.
Okay, no, perfect. Thank you for sharing those. Okay, Rich, sorry. I didn't mean to bring you
quite
on
all right.
prematurely.
First of all, I love Danielle's program, and I know somebody that loves charts and graphs and stuff, so that's a really cool program, which makes me even happier that the planning for the Arbor Day event we're doing down in the South Norwalk area. So this has been coming along kind of rapidly because we just started planning a month or so ago. We're doing it Thursday this week. We're going to be having several tree companies. I think we're going to have 7 trucks, bucket trucks and chippers on Martin Luther King Drive, on the southbound corridor, on the west side of MLK, pruning and cleaning up a lot of the London planes that were planted along Martin Luther King, removing some saplings and a couple of decayed trees and cleaning that up in anticipation of putting more trees in that area. So this will be like a kickoff of that. Thursday looks like the weather's great. Everything's all lined up, except I haven't purchased the paper cups and the beverages yet, so I still have to do that tomorrow. Paul's been a huge help. We did a site walk over there. Been planning it with Chris and Paul, both from the city. We're gonna do a lane closure with Public Works and I believe the police department. So we'll have that one whole side of the road closed off for the volunteers to work along the edge of the road without having to deal with the traffic flow. We contacted Norwalk Community College and they made some really cool graphic signs up for the event in like record amount of time, because I just contacted them last week about it and they already did it and Paul's going to print them so we have them for the event. Oh, cool. You got the pictures. So this
Yep.
is from a contact that Erica gave me. And ironically, I got to ask the guy, I haven't asked him. His name is John Arbor. He's a professor in the police department, correct?
Yes, he is a professor in the art and architecture department.
And this is from one of his students that put this together and sent it to me. So I forwarded it to Paul so he could print them. We're going to put them over on, we're going to make some noise pollution. We're going to put them over on the shoulder at the start of the event. And everything's just coming along pretty great. We're going to start doing that this Thursday morning at 8. We're going to meet in the Sono parking lot or the Webster lot, the big parking lot by the movie theater. We'll have the lane closure set up and we're going to work till noontime. Then all the volunteer tree companies are going to rendezvous back in the Webster lot. I believe the mayor is going to be there for a thank you ceremony and whoever, any other dignitaries that want to show up. And then we're going to serve all the volunteers pizza and soda for lunch. So pretty exciting. We did something like this, I think 23 or 24 years ago. It was pre-tree festival. And I think that kind of like was the onset of organizing the tree festival. So we're kind of circling back. And if you can imagine in 20 something years, everything needs work again. So it'll be a good day and we'll have a lot of good production and focus on, you know, preserving the canopy, the urban canopy, calling attention to the trees in the city, especially down in the South Norwalk area. And really looking forward to it. Should be cool.
That's great. And I love to see stuff like this because it just shows how we all collaborate with each other to get things done, whether we're working with Tree Alliance or with Norwalk Community College, and we just all come together as a city of Norwalk. So this is great. Thank you so much, Rich. I understand that Michelle has joined us. So
Yes.
I want to turn the floor over to Michelle Matthews Woods. I kind of gave you a little bit of an intro already, Michelle, and told folks that you were the Director of Communications at the City of Norwalk, and Paul mentioned a few projects you'd already worked on. And so we'd like to just, you know, introduce you and have you meet us and vice versa.
Thanks so much. I really appreciate it. I'm sorry I hopped on a little late, so I didn't see the full presentation, but I've been talking to Paul, as you mentioned, a lot about the Thursday and Friday activities and events, and I'm really excited. And I've only been here for a little bit over a month, but it seems like your committee is absolutely everywhere in terms of amazing projects. And we tried to lift up on the city's social media properties, the 18 trees that you planted on Friday and Saturday. So anyway, anything that you need or want me to potentially lift up or talk about, just continue to go through Paul, and I'm happy to continue to lift up and help promote all the great work that you all are doing. Thanks for allowing me a minute to introduce myself.
Great. Thank you so much, Michelle. It's really nice to meet you and great to have you.
Yeah,
Thank
and
you
Michelle's
so
really
much.
hopped in with like both feet and gotten into all of it a lot already, and has spent a lot of time making sure she gets all the details right with us. So it's been great working with her so far.
Thanks for all your help, Paul.
Thank you.
The next item on the agenda is Arbor Day. So I just want to, so we're doing two things for Arbor Day as a tree advisory committee. The first Rich spoke about is an Arbor Day cleanup event. targeting that South Norwalk area. And then the other is an Arbor Day tree planting. And Paul, do you want to just talk about that real quickly?
The planning is going great with that. The school is really excited about having Arbor Day there. This will be the second time that Arbor Day has been at Merrimack School. We had the final planning meeting yesterday morning. They've got the program all done. The posters, the winners are going to be announced at the ceremony, and Doubletree is going to do like they've done in the past, giving away the free night stay for the winner in each one of the grades, K through 5. And we're planting, it'll be Friday morning, they're going to be planting the 3 trees. There's 2 red maple trees out by the road on King Street in the island, in an area that could use some trees. And also they're going to be planting a eastern red bud, that one is a pink, as part of the ceremony, closer to the school.
I love those red buds.
Yeah, gotta water them.
Touche. Great. So Norwalk beautification projects are the next item. This is just something I asked Paul to throw on the agenda almost last minute. I'm going to really quickly share my screen. I'm just pulling up. Can everybody see? Let's see. What can we see here? Can we see this picture of the intersection of Norwalk? Is that what's up on the screen, people?
Yeah, exit
Yes.
16, it looks like.
Yeah,
Looks like
so when you
exit
come off
16.
exit 16, I was flying off of here the other day within the speed limit, of course. And I just kind of took a look and I said, what's going on here? And this is, please, in no way anything negative about our amazing, DPW and all of the parks and rec and all of the people who work. I was just thinking, as a tree advisory committee, wouldn't it be nice if we kind of put some bushes that are on our list in this area and just kind of kicked it up, so when somebody comes off 95 into our beautiful city, they see maybe some color and some, we have, obviously we can't put trees there, but we certainly have a good deal of flowering bushes on our list with I just forgot the name of the company we work with. Olmsted, thank you. We have quite a few bushes on there, and maybe we can do something here. And again, I mean, I'm willing to get out there and dig some holes with a shovel and maybe have some students or other people. I'm not asking anybody else to take this on, but it would be something that I think would, kind of make a nice impact when you drive into town.
Anything would be an improvement. So I would have Peter look at that and definitely put some low flowering, colorful bushes and shrubs in there to dress that up. But is that area going to be redeveloped with the East Avenue Bridge? Is it going to be short-lived?
I don't think that it's going that far up north from the East Avenue Bridge. I thought it was ending down at Olmsted place, but the sign, I know they just replaced that sign a couple weeks ago. And one of the things we'd have to put together is we probably have to put a plan, because technically it's on the I-95 right of way. We just have to get the state to approve it.
But this is something that's possible, and it's something that other
Oh,
people
definitely.
agree with. Okay,
Definitely.
and I mean, I just happen to use exit 16 on a regular basis. I'm sure there are other little spots around town that can use, our TLC. So if anybody sees a location where you're like, you know what, maybe a couple of flowering bushes or something there would really kick things up, please just send me an email with any locations, or send a photo, like how I very safely took that photo as I was driving by. I was at the red light, so it was okay. I was at a red light, but this way we can, take a look at it and offer Peter, who's not here to defend himself, offer his services as a landscape architect. I think that Jeff, go ahead. Did you want to throw something in there?
Just a good segue there. As a landscape architect, I can kind of help defend Peter. in the fact that I just be mindful of not impeding visual for cars at intersections and pedestrians. I was almost going to say a tree might almost be better because then you elevate above the view line, but then you have to keep in mind the signal as well. But like perennials and flowering perennials and grasses might be a good option there too, as like a pollinator pathway sort of. So yeah.
Well, we could do too, Erica. There's a bunch
Yeah.
of what we call the cleaning green locations around the city, and Anthony Carr would issue the permits as the Chief of Operations and Public Works, would issue permits to the people around town for those locations. So we can kind of get you a good list, and any of them that aren't really being maintained would be target ones.
Okay, and then Paul, you know where I live. So there is a big community kind of garden where Wolf Pit and
Partridge come
Partridge
together.
come together there, and it is gorgeous.
Yes.
And it has a lot of these, just to Jeff's point, low growing shrubs that don't impact, you know, that traffic triangle in any way. And so it's really well maintained. And I'm not sure, I think it might be a neighborhood group that clearly I should know about.
This would be something that would probably be real easy to do, low hanging fruit that would have a big impact on the appearance of the city too.
I'm 100% for it. So let's get a list together of a couple of locations and just put some low growing shrubs and some color and some flowering plants and you know some pollinator friendly options we'll go with, and we can really have a big impact for a little bit of money.
Agreed.
That the area you picked is a great one because that one it could use some work, and it's a welcoming area to the city.
Yeah.
That picture was taken today, so that is super current. It's exactly what it looks like right now. I literally took that today. Okay, great. Jeff, you have the floor. Anything with Arbor Day and RVT that you want to talk about?
Sure. So hey everybody, I'm Jeff, president of Norwalk Tree Alliance. Also by day landscape architect. But what we have going for Arbor Day, we had been in contact with Mr. G, who's a science teacher over at Ponus Ridge Middle School. And he and a big group, I'm not on mute, oh sorry. He and a whole bunch of teachers and staff over at the school are in favor of sort of creating a plan for a native arboretum sort of look. So we drew up a plan with including 9 trees that would be able to go in. There's 4, I believe, red maples, and then 5 red maples and 4 linden trees. But that kind of had a little bit of a hiccup because they've sort of stalled on us. We gave them the plan and they hadn't responded, and now we're trying to push them to approve it. So we're hoping to get one in on Friday at least, but then in the future have spots available for more. And then that we also gave them a plan for ideas underneath the trees to create sort of pollinator boxes that would help the tree survive and protect the tree from, soil compaction and maintenance and that sort of stuff, lawn mowers and weed whackers. And it would also become a school project. So they have a class of gifted and talented who take on these sorts of projects. They do little reports on them and then they essentially implement them. So it's a great way of hands-on learning and hands-on doing. And it's good for the environment. So that's a little bit of a hiccup there, but we're hoping to get one in for Arbor Day. The NRVT, the Norwalk River Valley Trail, we had a Zoom meeting earlier this week, I believe it was yesterday, I don't even know what day it is, but so Monday. We have put together an outline of objectives to speak about. Peter Vitarello is going to be representing the TAC on this walk. The walk is happening May 21st. He's also representing the TAC throughout the planning process of this. And basically, it's going to be a walk that kind of talks about culture, ecology, and economy. So what does that mean? And how does that all those topics relate to the Norwalk River? There's, runoff water that can be, caught in better ways before it reaches the river, and how does that sort of impact the water quality, and why is that important before it goes into the sound? What does that impact? We have a big oyster and clamming business in the sound. All of these pollutants and contaminants and invasives that basically get transported on a highway, which is the Norwalk River, and then the silt provides a planting bed for these invasives to create a stronghold on the riverbanks. So all these different topics are going to be talked about on the walk. We the 7th, we're doing a preliminary walk just to walk it and see where different areas of erosion are happening, and really to just sort of tighten up the talk along the walk. So that's exciting, that's happening. And then the last thing was the Queen's Tea for Trees. This is a fundraising event that we thought would be a fun fundraising event. One of the Norwalk Tree Alliance's board member offered up her home, and we are looking to create a guest list and a fundraising goal. There will be, treats and tea to have. And basically how this all sort of came up was the Queen of England has her Platinum Jubilee this year. And her request of her constituents of England and their territories were to plant a tree in her honor. We do not follow the Queen. However, it was a really good initiative that we thought we could play off of. And we were just looking to, there was perhaps an opportunity to link this to an LGBTQ plus community with Troop. I think it's 45 or 3, I forget the number, but Troop is a bar and restaurant in South Norwalk. So it's just a good way to kind of get people involved and have a fun event around it, and educate. So that's all I have for the NTA.
Great. Thank you, Jeff, for that update. The last thing under other business, I just wanted to quickly share my screen showing a program that the Environmental Science Club has put together. It's running tomorrow, if anyone can make it, from 3 to 5. It's a roundtable discussion. We have an attorney advocate who's been very instrumental in getting some really important pesticide bills on the table in Hartford, including those surrounding chlorpyrifos and neonics, which are very negatively impactful on bees. We have the head of the local beekeepers association is going to be there talking about the impacts of bees. We have a water quality expert that's going to be there. So it should be a really fantastic program. I'm really proud of the students for spearheading this. They're very passionate about pesticides and food security, and this will be going on campus tomorrow. If you can make it, we would love to see you there. Is there any other new business?
I have one, I guess a comment, not new item, but on the Norwalk beautification target area. When we look at that, we should make sure we do both the north and southbound islands at exit 16.
Yes.
I think that's like a main entry point for Norwalk, and I think both I think the picture you took is from northbound. But I think the other one, now that I'm trying to picture, is also kind of blank. And really could use something.
It
Yeah,
absolutely was the northbound, and that's an excellent point.
Did we have to get permission to put that signage there from the
I
state?
believe so.
That
Yes,
sign isn't it paid for by Stu Leonard's?
yes, and they
Or
probably
parking.
have that. That's why I want to check the list to see if they have the adopt a spot there, and if they do, maybe we can get them to add some of the flowers and stuff at their cost.
Yeah, they got a nursery.
They have a nursery, exactly. That sign is lifted considerably off the ground, so there's an opportunity to put some bushes and kind of even frame the sign and to make it look nicer.
Yeah.
And that's a new sign too that just went in.
Yep.
Anything else, guys? Any other new business? All right, then I move to adjourn our meeting. It is 6:47. Thank you, everyone, for taking time out of your busy schedules to be here. And we'll see you next month.
Have a good night.
Take
Good
care.
night, everybody.
Thank you, guys. Have a good
Bye.
night.
Thank you.
Thanks.